If you've been on the internet, then you've definitely come across this guy. He has traveled the world. He has done some crazy things. He's been riding through the bear market with us, and he's actually dropping an NFT collection. Now, before you kind of jump into the comments and go like, oh, it's just another celebrity cash grab. Oh, they're just trying to like rip some liquidity. I actually want to go in and break this down because there is an existing collection. The existing collection is holding a floor price, and this collection has been out for a year. It's a Genesis collection. So this is an extension of that. So I'm going to break this down for you. First up, the Genesis collection. Now, when we have a look at the collection, just the overall stats, it is a supply of 1,997, so essentially a 2K collection. Now, the floor price is currently 0.24 ETH, and the best offer is 0.15, 4% listed. Now, what I really want to point out here is that this is actually on Polygon. So if you actually have a look right up here, you can see the Polygon logo. So this is actually on Polygon. It's not on Ethereum. And also, if you actually head down here into the details section, you can see contract address. And when you click on contract address, you can also see here that it is the OpenSea storefront. You can see it right there. So what this means, it means that the Genesis collection was actually lazy minted by the team, which just basically means that they listed them all one by one on OpenSea essentially, and got this here. So this also does mean it's a little bit harder for me to kind of dive in because I can't use the typical sort of tools that I would use. When we have a look at the analytics, so over the last sort of 30 days, there has been 28 sales. So essentially it's been one sale a day in the lead up to the mint. And the idea is that all of these Genesis pieces will be instantly whitelisted for the next one. They're not going to get a free one. They are just whitelisted. Now, when you actually have a look at the top owners, now one thing you should be careful of when you look at a project that's lazy minted, you can actually see how many they own. So the team actually owns 3%, be it they listed and never sold, or they kind of held them back for marketing purposes, things like that. So it's not like there's a 2,000 collection, because especially when something's lazy minted, there could be a collection of 2,000, but only 3 of them have been bought. So that does give you an idea, and that also will show you what the actual volume here is, because the volume goes off the actual sales. This isn't just off secondary, but it's almost the primary sales because of how they're listed on OpenSea themselves. So be wary there. And it's essentially a 50% unique holders, which isn't bad. It's kind of like sitting right in the middle where you would expect it. Now, having a look at the activity tab. Now, what this does is this will give you an idea of what the price has done over time. And using the very rudimentary tools, you can see that the average price actually ran up to, after mint, to 0.42 ETH. And it kind of bounced around. And it was sitting above the sort of mint price of the 0.25 up until May, when we got really bearish. And that's where it is kind of sat. So this is the 0.2 mark, but the fact is it's kind of touched it. Every time it touches it, it might dip down a little bit, but it's actually come back up, and it's recently kind of dug itself out of this little hole here. So overall, for a project that's been out for a year, it's holding its mint price, which is actually pretty crazy, seeing that we've been in the crazy bear market that we have been. So that is a look at the Genesis collection, and the new collection will be on Ethereum, the main chain, the layer 1, and I think that will also bring added liquidity to the market, but it also does depend on how they handle new market participants and if they can actually onboard people via fiat or other means, just to make it easier for those people when you look at something like Trump and the way that he actually ran his. Now, when we have a look on Twitter at the socials, this project's got 280 1,000 followers. It's got the pinned tweet here, which is December 2021. So this is before the Genesis collection dropped, and you can actually see all of the information here. So you know it's not someone pretending to be from the brand Hasbulla, and it's actually kind of a real authentic thing. And then when we actually have a look at his sort of Twitter account itself, but it says I work for Hasbulla because he's not actually sort of English sort of speaking. This is the account, and this account has 1.2 million followers. And look, I know Twitter is where we are at, but the rest of the world is kind of on Instagram and TikTok. And on Instagram, Hasbulla has 5.8 million followers. So there is a big reach. Now look, the reason that I bring up this social proof aspect is the fact that Hasbulla has built the brand around the memification and meme technology when it comes to actually building the brand, sustaining attention. People take clips, they repost them on TikTok, repost them on Instagram, there's fan pages, things like that. There is a big fan base behind the brand Hasbulla, which then means that there is more attention, more eyeballs on the project itself. Now, the one thing that I will say about the Twitter account is that with these followers, the engagement isn't too good when we look at the follower to engagement count. And I can kind of point out here, we can say this was seen by 80,000 and it's only had 1,200 likes. And then when we come down to some of these other accounts, when we lean into a bit of that meme-ish aspect, we can see 235,000 impressions and 3,400 likes on it. And right here with this giveaway, it had 180,000 impressions. It has then had 1,600 likes and 888 retweets, which is essentially entries into the sort of whitelist for the upcoming mint. So that's just something that I wanted to point out, just so that if you are having a quick glance, not just looking at this very top number, but also having a look at the engagement as well and seeing what that stacks up with other projects so you can then make a decision. Now, the reason I think this is interesting is when we saw the likes of the Trump NFT, that was a cheap, affordable price and people could onboard with fiat. But with that, you had people that were a fan of someone that was able to actually kind of get a piece of that person or that brand, which then becomes essentially a digital collectible and just shows that you're part of like that particular tribe. So you had all of these Trump supporters and degens buying up the Trump NFT. When you have a look at something like Migos, when RIP Takeoff, but when Takeoff had his collection, he had a whole bunch of Takeoff fans buy that up. And then even people like Aman have Gents Croquet Club. Then also Tim Ferriss and Cock Punch. Like the idea here is I can keep naming people, celebrities, people that are big outside of the Web3 NFT space that have actually brought people in and fans in. And where this leads to us degens having an advantage is we natively know how to use the application. We know how to mint, we know how to trade, we know how to do this. Now, I'm not saying that this will run and go absolutely crazy, but the idea is Hasbulla has a big fan base, a big set of people, plus the established track record of the Genesis collection itself for this second collection to actually run, which if you're a flipper and a trader, that's what you want to see. You want to see an established track record, but then the idea that there could be new liquidity coming into the market. Now, when it comes to the mint details, they are minting on the 19th of January. It is a 10K supply. 2,000 will be for the Genesis holders. Then it's going to sort of VIP whitelist, some for the team, and then the rest are going into the whitelist stage. And then you can see a breakdown of all of the different aspects here. Whitelist is at 0.05 and public is 0.069. I personally am not a fan of having a split pricing for the whitelist and the public, just because it means that the floor needs to be at least a 0.08 or 0.09 for public to even consider minting. It also means that whitelisters can actually brick the floor just underneath public. On the flip side, what this means is it means that there can be an ability or a chance for the team to actually come through and sweep some of the whitelist minted aspects at sort of around that sort of 0.069 mark just to get it back to mint so they can then sell the rest out. So there is that. So there is that chance, but I'm not too much of a fan of the split because it does add another barrier and another hurdle to actually kind of having this run up, because all it takes is sort of 15 or 20 people to kind of list under that public mint price, and then you start to create a bit of a wall, creates a bit of hesitation, then starts a cascade of listing, and then you can't ever get above what the public mint price would be, which then means that people aren't essentially going to mint on public. So that just please keep that in mind. Now, look, like I said, this isn't financial advice. You got to do your own research, but diving in and having a look at this, especially the historic aspect of the Genesis piece, can give you a little bit of an indication of what you could do with this project moving forward if you actually do want to kind of hedge your bets and go degen mode when it comes to mint day, getting whitelists, things like that. Also, full disclosure, I was able to get whitelist spots for my group private Discord. There's actually a link down below if you want to check it out, join the waitlist. So there is that. It can be considered pumping my own bags, so please take that into consideration. But the idea is I got the spots because I like the project and I'd like to kind of get in, trade it, mint it. So just full disclosure, please understand that when you actually take that into account, all the research that you're doing about this project. So also a new studio, new setup. Hopefully you enjoy the new visuals. But anyway, enough of that. I'll do a tour of the studio another time. Hopefully you found value in this video. If you did find value, scroll down there, hit up that like button and also that subscribe button. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.